Your posture says a lot about your personality. It also talks about how your joints and muscles are working. And it was rightly said by Shakira, hips don't lie. And yes, I definitely believe Shakira was right. Namaste friends, I am Ritesh and today our focus is on hip alignment. Our pelvis plays an important role in how we sit, stand and move. It also plays an important role in maintaining our posture and the way we look and feel. The goal is to get the spine in the neutral position for a good posture. Whether it's a backward extension or a forward flexion, in supine or prone positions. Our spine has a natural curve, the S shape. A neutral spine position refers to the natural curves of a healthy spine. So remember friends, it is not good or bad, it all depends. Some of the asanas we require a posterior pelvic tilt, or anterior pelvic tilt, and some we don't. That also depends upon individual's muscle and skeletal system because we are all different. But before we get into the asana, let us first understand what does these terms anterior pelvic tilt and a posterior pelvic tilt means, and how does that affect our muscles. Anterior pelvic tilt. So anterior means front, pelvic, that's my pelvic, and while tilt is this. So this is known as your anterior pelvic tilt. Now it is very common postural issue in men and women. So 4 to 7 degrees in men and 7 to 10 degrees in women. So anterior pelvic tilt occurs when the front of the pelvis, that is your ASIS, is tilted excessively forward while the back of the pelvis, that is your PSIS, is raised up. This happens when the hip flexors shortens and the hip extensor lengthens. And now let's talk about posterior pelvic tilt. Now posterior pelvic tilt is opposite of anterior pelvic tilt. That is when the front of the pelvis, that is ASIS, is tilted excessively backward. So backward and the PSIS drops. This happens when the hip flexors lengthens and the hip extensor shortens, especially the buttock muscles, the gluteus maximus, which is the primary extensor. Friends, the pelvic tilt occurs for many reasons and causes can be quite complicated. The pelvis suffers from both cause and effect, meaning that pelvic dysfunction may cause other problems elsewhere, and problems elsewhere can cause problems at the pelvis. Let us start at the feet and work in up, looking at the various causes and effect. So let's start with the lower body first. So misalignment in foot can cause pelvic tilt, right? This topic we have already discussed in the foot alignment. The link is given above. Now leg length, some people would have long leg, so even that creates a lot of pelvic tilts. Knee problem, either varus or valgus, we have discussed this issue in detail. The knee alignment video, the link is given above. Now let's talk about the upper body. Weak or tight abdominals, are also known as the cross syndrome, tilts the pelvis. Carrying a baby prenatally, right? Carrying a baby, it gives you anterior tilt. The extra weight pulls the belly forward, the pelvis rotates anteriorly. Poor sitting or standing posture, this can go both ways too. Poor posture causes pelvic tilt, and tilted pelvis can cause a poor posture. Slouching tends to posteriorly tilt the pelvis back. Okay, upright sitting also pelvis gets into a forward tilt. Rounded shoulders and forward head posture rounds the lower back posteriorly. And now let us talk about asanas and how can we use anterior or posterior pelvic tilt for our benefits.